I was very, fascinated because it's my hometown, and fascinated with this idea that what is emptiness, how form and emptiness, they are one and the same. And I realized that, I could probably try to depict this philosophy, this concept in Buddhism, which is through my paintings, to convey the message of impermanence, the message of transience.
Hello, I am Nitish Tyagi and welcome to Abir Samvaad. We have a very special guest today with us. He is a prolific poet, he is a successful diplomat, and then he is also into painting, which brought us here. We are here for his exhibition called Shunyata, and which is about emptiness, and so there's a long conversation going to happen. But first, let me introduce Abhay Kumar. He writes Abhay K as his pen name. It's like in Urdu they call it takhallus. And so he's a poet, diplomat, editor, translator, and anthologist, and currently serving as Deputy Director General of Indian Council of Cultural Relations, ICCR, New Delhi. He joined IFS, Indian Foreign Service, in 2003 after doing Masters in Geography from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. And he served as 21st Ambassador to Madagascar and Comoros from 2019 to 2022, and as India's Deputy Ambassador to Brazil from 2016 to 2019. He earlier served as a spokesperson and first secretary to the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu, Nepal from 2012 to 2016, and as acting Consul General of India in St. Petersburg and third secretary at Indian Embassy, Moscow. And before that, he has done multiple things, but I want to jump into poetry. He has done 12 books on poetry?
Yes.
12. So he has done a dozen of books on poems, which kind of, so that's like, he's so passionate about it. And he published collections of poetry include Celestial, Stray Poems, Monsoon, The Magic of Madagascar, The Alphabets of Latin America, The Prophecy of Brasilia, The Eight-Eyed Lord of Kathmandu, The Seduction of Delhi, amongst others. While his edited books are Capitals, 100 Great Indian Poems, 100 More Great Indian Poems, New Brazilian Poems, The Bloomsbury Anthology of Great Indian Poems, The Bloomsbury Book of Great Indian Love Poems, The Book of Bihari Literature, among others. And he has written multiple anthems. His Earth Anthem has been translated into over 150 languages and was played at the United Nations to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Earth Day. He also wrote an anthem for SAARC, spurring search for an official SAARC anthem. He wrote a moon anthem to celebrate the success of India's moon mission Chandrayaan and Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3. He also penned a sun anthem to mark the launch of ISRO's Aditya. He has penned anthems on the planets of solar system. His translations of first Magahi novel, Phool Bahadur, will be published by Penguin in 2024. Welcome, Abhay K. And this is like so good to kind of have some poet getting into art, which we don't see much of in India. Like, it's very difficult to see poets getting into other forms.
Right.
Painters getting into poetry for that matter. So what got you into this? Like this you've been painting for long, or this is like?
Yes, I've been painting for long actually. Actually, I started painting before writing poetry. So my first painting, you can see it's here on the other side, is from 2005, and I had gone to Moscow and I saw a great place for art there and great for artists, and so I used to visit all these art galleries like Trechiko and others in Moscow, Hermitage in St. Petersburg, and then I realized that I was able to witness how a painting is made, and that's how once I was invited actually to paint, and one artist he said that, oh, this is canvas and here are pens, so do something, and that was so inspiring. And I bought some paints. I did not buy a canvas. I thought I'll use some other material, and so I felt like painting, and then I used I took a used chocolate box, like the carton, the dabba, and on the back of it I made the first painting, first, second, third, like that, and that's how I started painting. I mean, my first book of poetry was actually published much later, in 2009. Yeah. Also poems from Moscow, actually, but painting happened earlier. But then poetry took over, and then one book after another started coming. And in 2010, I did some exhibitions. 2008, 9, 10. These were like my active years of as an artist, and I did lots of paintings, which are which you can see here, my earlier works there. But literature took over, and I've done number of books of poetry, as you said, and also I've edited a number of anthologies, almost half a dozen anthologies.
Yeah, that's quite a body of work. That's what surprises us. Okay, you can also paint, and that's like.
And this thing, so recently what I was doing, my latest book, which is going to come next year, is on Nalanda, and where I am from, actually. Yes. And I was reading about this philosophy of Shunyata, which was given by Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara in presence of Buddha at the Gridhakut Parvat, or the Vulture's Peak in Rajgir, modern day Rajgir in Bihar. And I was very fascinated, because it's my hometown, and fascinated with this idea that what is emptiness, how form and emptiness, they are one and the same. And I realized that I could probably try to depict this philosophy, this concept in Buddhism, which is through my paintings, to convey the message of impermanence, the message of transience, because most of our suffering today is because of believing or wishing even everything to be permanent. Yeah. So while the reality is that everything is changing every moment, and that's why letting go, believing in impermanence, I think, becomes central to relieve humanity from suffering. And I thought that through these paintings I'll try to convey the message.
So I think one of the most thing which we are talking in our group also, that to give a form to Shunyata,
right,
to give a form to emptiness. How did you process that? That's, I think, the most critical part.
These days, like one of the greatest contributions of India is considered to be zero, Shunya. And but Aryabhat is credited to invent zero, and then Brahmagupta is considered to give it a form, and then which was carried on by the Arabs and then to the Europeans. But actually the Shunyata as a philosophy begins much earlier in Buddhism, and that Shunyata, I thought how to depict a Shunyata. So I thought of a circle, which is also the circle of life, the circular nature of time, as Borges, borrowed from Indian philosophy, and this circle of beginning of the universe from nothing, almost emptiness, into and then the black holes. Yes. So and then the stars. All circles, the spheres, the planets. You saw I have written a lot about planets, and so I thought that this form, like this shape of a circle, as the representation of Shunyata, like emptiness. And you make a circle and the canvas, and it's empty. And now, so I started filling it with paint. And for example, this one, the painting you see here, blue, the Prussian blue. and I saw that somehow a face is coming, which was involuntary, which was not premeditated, and I saw structure coming out of the painting. I had not really thought that I'm going to paint something.
It appeared on its own.
It's appeared on its own, and I saw the form, that form appearing from Emptiness, from Shunyata, and that's how I thought that maybe I'll try others, and slowly different forms started appearing, and I mean, look at, for example, the painting we see here. It's just the brush strokes and something.
Something.
Yeah.
It's like a mysterious
thing.
Hidden.
Yeah. Most of them are like in a state of meditation, or they are in this state of trance.
Yeah.
So that's all happened on its own, and I realized that wow, something like as one of the great artists, Piet Mondrian, says that artist is only a channel. So I thought that art has now really chosen me to express. Shunyata has chosen me to express, me to give it a shape to visualize.
So you have been to the whole world, and you have seen art everywhere. I mean, almost like multiple continents, I think.
Right.
And then, so how do you see? How do you experience art on your own, like?
Well, see, one of the, recently I read a very beautiful book by Alan D. Botton. It's called Art as Therapy.
Yeah,
yes.
I read it.
And I found his ideas remarkable because, see, art should be able to make us, should change, should be able to transform us in a way, or at least heal us, or treat us from, modern calamities which humanity faces. And he said, but I read the book later, after making these artworks, and I believe what he says, that art should work as a healer. And so if you look at this painting, they have a calming effect. They sort of make you still. There's a sense of stillness, there's a sense of calm, and there's a state of meditation. So then I thought that maybe I'm on the right path, I mean, at least those who come and visit. And you see here, it's not just the art, but also the music that goes with it, the aroma that goes with it. So it's a whole experience in itself.
Experiential thing.
Yes.
No, but tell us about your visits to various places and how.
So I've been to almost all the major art galleries. I mean, I would begin with Hermitage, the greatest. I mean, between Louvre and Hermitage, I think these are the two greatest museums in the world. And I would often walk into Hermitage on Sundays or Saturdays because I had a pass, and I would have. I've written about it in my one of the poetry books about Hermitage. And I would have conversations with the paintings. I would see someday, the Venus, Aphrodite, or Rembrandt's works, or so many I mean works of different from different parts of the world, and all at one place, and have a conversation with them. Same in, I mean, that's where I've lived for 3 years, in St. Petersburg. So it's all unconsciously there, inside me. I mean, all those things, you absorb, and then someday it comes out. Louvre or the Met in New York, I mean, another beautiful collection. I've been to museums in Mexico, the National Museum, in Argentina, in Brazil, and also, I mean, places different in London, for example, in the National Gallery, at the Trafalgar, or in the Tate Modern. So all these places I have, I've visited, and.
But any experiential highlight you would like to share with us from that?
I think I mean, what struck me, I mean, visiting these places or experiencing art, I've also been to like some of the cave, for example, Bhimbetka I have been.
Yes.
And I mean, I would share one thing about Bhimbetka, which gives an insight into art. Bhimbetka paintings, the rock cave paintings, are really old. They are I mean, they are very, thousands of years old. And what you realize that only art survives. Nothing else we know of that time. How did they live? what did they do, what was the political system, who were the political leaders or celebrities. Nothing survives. Even from Africa, if you look at the rock cave art, I mean, from that time, from prehistory, what has survived is art. Those beautiful giraffes, made with ochre, so this is so insightful that if you are devoting your time and attention to art, whether it be literature or art in the art form, they tend to live longer, they tend to survive longer, and they are actually the witness of their times.
What do you think? You're also in a way that you're cultural ambassadors of our country now. So how do you think the world sees India as its art and cultural, the way we are talking about the world? So how do they see India?
Well, India is seen as a miracle. See, India's strength is unity in diversity. Probably we have diversity which except I think the whole continent of Africa, no other place has, and we are, there is unity in that diversity. Whether it is cuisine or culture or colors or art, different dance forms, whether classical or folk, languages, the kind of literature. Whenever the anthologies I've edited, there are 3,000 years of anything, like Indian poetry, 3,000 years of Bihari literature, and so on. So we have a very rich and diverse cultural treasure, and I think people recognize that India is a very diverse country. Also, India's, we have, I think majority of the religions in the world come from India. So we have Hinduism, we have Buddhism, we have Jainism, we have Sikhism, and so some of the major religions, philosophical thoughts. Buddha is still a very influential figure in many parts of the world, which I have written about. In Nalanda, the impact of Nalanda actually. It's India is seen as a country which is very colorful, is a strength, a pillar of stability among chaos you see in different parts of the world. So I think and now, just a new book has come, The Golden Road, which talks about India being Dalrymple's book, which talks about India's
exports to the world.
India's being the center of being the heart of, in terms of culture and art and soft power of Eurasia actually. From 250 BC up to around up to the demise of Nalanda, around 1200 AD.
So coming back to present, so of course we have a very rich history and diversity.
Right.
But looking at this whole modern Indian creativity, we can see lots of things happening, and this is also more of an interplay between the world and India. How do you see modern Indian art making its kind of finding its acceptance, not just acceptance but also celebration in the world?
I think one of the strengths of the modern Indian art is India has always been a country strong in spirituality. You see major figures in the world coming to India when they have lost hope in life, and they come to regain that faith in life, and they do it through spirituality. So I think spirituality remains our strong point, but also like lots of artists you see today making it big on the international stage, being liked in other countries. And I mean, there are so many examples. You know, the Indian artists who have done well in terms of installations, no, sculptures, and who are international now. So I see that Indian artists are also sort of responding to what's happening in the West, right?
Yeah.
It's what actually is the demand of the market, actually, and that how the West is moving in terms of art. The art in terms of, you know, the using modern technologies, or using the concept, the video art, or I mean the way modern art. I mean, painting has become a kind of a traditional art form.
One other thing is like looks like more of a slightly antique, like
right, antique.
It's like
piece.
Typewriters,
yes,
amongst the
computers,
the
yes.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, like the idea of you know, an antique kind of art, because it's like a book, you know, which never goes out of fashion.
Yes.
And you can be still in front of these paintings, which is not possible in front of the videos, or, you know, I mean, there's a lot of thoughts there, there's lots of disturbance there, you know. I mean, I mean, if I've been to Kochi Biennale and many, I mean, India Art Fair and all, and I see lots of disturbance in art, you know, which I mean, in the sense that it sort of uncalms you, you know, it sort of excites
there's a
you.
Noise factor.
Yeah, there's a lots of noise. And whether in poetry or in you know, art, I try to, I think, believe in what Alan de Botton says, that art should be able to calm you down, or, you know.
So when I was working in news, so one of my bosses in BBC, she said that always keep asking this question: are you generating heat or you're shedding light?
Right. Very good.
Yeah, this is a very, you know, for every approach, in fact, all creative people and all people, we should always ask, are you generating? Because it's coming from the same thing. One thing which I want to hear from you is, so Abir is like it attracts lots of young artists. We work with lots of young artists, largely from hinterland, like, you know, Bihar, Meghalaya, and he's from Meghalaya, and even Andamans and Odisha and all this. So lots of people from. So what can we say? What can we tell these young artists? What will you tell them to kind of, you know, because they're also like looking at two things. One is, okay, this is how the world is moving, and in the process we lose our authentic self. And second is, of course, to, you know, that is best they can do, because that's, you know, you bring out, if I am from Assam, I will bring something really cool from bamboo or textile or that kind of stuff. If I'm from Kutch. But so what do you suggest, what do you tell, you know, as a very creative, busy creative person with both art and poetry in your thing?
Yeah, I mean, see, we have a very rich traditional culture, you know, handicraft culture, and a country which is perfected. I mean, we have artisans who produce wonders, and their role in, you know, I mean, yesterday I met someone who does the export of handicrafts, and India's handicrafts export is booming. I mean, even the younger generation of those artisans are actually taking charge from their parents, and they are no more like uneducated, or they are professionals. I mean, they are market savvy.
They can connect the dots.
They can connect the dots. So that I see happening as and I think that's a great hope. And younger, I mean, I saw one of my friend artists from Italy, I mean, Tarshito, if you know him, he does this work. He goes to artisans, you know, and he sort of collaborates with them. So artisans do half of the work and he does half of the work. So it's a collaboration, and he's doing it across India, and I think across the world, also from Mexico and Africa and all that. And that's another thing where we can bring the modern, the contemporary, and the tradition together.
Yeah, but it's also about, like, you know, where do we get our confidence from? So I think I'm like, I don't know if you grew up in Rajgir, or you?
I grew up in Rajgir. I
was born in Jagdalpur.
Right.
So
okay.
We all probably have this, you know, this thing that, okay, when do we? There's a bit of a
hesitancy,
anxiety,
confidence,
confidence issue. So what should they do to have that
more confidence?
Yeah, that leap of faith. Think, okay, करके देखते हैं क्या होगा फिर ऐसे.
I mean, you mean in the
For the artists, basically,
for the
young artists who are there right now.
what should we do? I think we should connect the dots, as you said. No, we should like those. I always see, like, I'm an English language poet, but I always see more myself more as a kind of translator, as the works of the poets who are writing in different Indian languages.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done anthologies and taken them to 6 different international languages, world languages across the world. So I see them as the people who have the real root, and the fragrance of the soil, and they are rooted. So that's their strength, because all this comes from the rootedness. You see, this exhibition is all about what I learned in Rajgir,
Yeah, exactly.
not in Paris or in Moscow or in Brazil. So it's all comes from there. So that's our strength. That's their strength. All they need is to to have that platform. So probably I think those of artisans who speak English, or who are more market savvy and media savvy, probably they could help them, because it's all working in partnerships.
Absolutely.
And I mean, all the original ideas, if you look today, they all come from there.
Yeah. How do you create a collaborative
How
forest?
do you collaborative forest? True. So that's where the collaboration is the creative economy. That's where we have the connection. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful thing to talk to you.
Thank you so much, and
Yeah.